Hello and welcome to a new series that I am calling Openly Flailing, in which I explain how all the creative things I'm doing are going. I'm doing a lot of creative things and I'm doing them all at once, and I think when people see that you're doing that, I knew that Fiona would find this exciting. When you're doing a lot of creative things at once, I think people assume maybe that they're all going well or that you really know what you're doing, but the truth is I do lots of creative things so that I can grow as a person, which means that I basically almost never know what I'm doing any single day I'm engaging in a creative activity. And I think that that's the norm. At least it should be. I don't think that anyone should go around thinking that they know what the hell they're doing. And I want you all to see my lovely pajamas and how adorable I look in them. That was another reason that I did this video. Experience helps you avoid lots of basic rookie pitfalls, but you always still need to be paying attention to whatever story you're writing in the moment. It's very humbling the longer you do it, because even though I know this, I forget it. And then I'm kind of reminding myself in the process of making this video that it's okay for me not to know how to do any of the things I'm doing, because that's kind of the point. If I knew how to do them, I wouldn't do them. I wouldn't be compelled to do them. In fact, started directing a play, we did the auditions, and we've had the first read through of the script. I know some of the actors before, they've been in my films. And they said, okay, so you're directing a play now. And I was like, yeah, I guess I got too confident doing the other stuff. I had to start at the bottom of a new ladder again. I have a friend, Daniel, who is learning lots of different stuff. And he said to himself that he is not allowed to become an expert in anything until he's 70, which I think is amazing. I think that's a sign of an artist to me, or one type of it, is somebody who's constantly learning. It's no secret that I'm a big Marina Abramović fan. And she said, if you can draw something perfectly with your right hand so that you never even need to think about it, immediately start drawing with your left. This is what it means to be living the art life, not necessarily making the best stuff all the time, but learning at the bottom of the steepest learning curve that you possibly can. And that compels me. That's what I'm doing. And it was one of the motivations for this as well, because I'm directing a play with Bats Theatre. They're like a local amateur theatre troupe. And through them, I've got my producer and my costume person and another producer and these other kind of roles that were established from how they do things. And so there's tension right now between them remembering how they did the spring play last year, because they do a play in spring and then they do a pantomime in December, and that's part of it. No, they do the pantomime in January, but they're rehearsing it in December and so on. We're talking about how to do it, how to set up the set, how to do the costumes. There's lots of talk about how the last play went. They saw the things that I'd made, and lots of them said that they were excited to learn from me. And I tried to make it clear that I'm only doing this because I don't know how to do it. And vulnerability is a quality I really require in my leaders. I don't want to feel better than anyone, and I want to rely on their expertise as well. Some of them have been in plays before and so on. I'm worried, in having said that I've created this kind of experience vacuum to be filled by how things were done before, when what I really want is for all of us to discover from first principles how we're going to do this together, how we're going to tell this unique story, and so on. And this is how I think about everything. I'm going to go all over the place until I've finished talking about everything. But also, we did a film festival last year. We're doing a film festival again this year, and there was a previous organization that tried to set up a film festival, and they went about it the kind of way I think most people do go about things, which I find very strange, because it doesn't occur to me to think like that, and I'll talk about why I don't think that way. But the way I thought about it is asking the question, you want to do a film festival? I've been to film festivals before, what do you need? And lots of other people would say, probably an events coordinator with 5 years of experience. I don't know, and then like maybe we would need a media management person. I don't know. It doesn't occur to me to set up roles for people before I figured out whether or not they're necessary. Because if you ask me what you need to set up a film festival, it was films and a place to show them. So we set up a Film Freeway account and came up with a Stavanger Indie. That's our festival name. It's also our company name, and company name that we're going to be using for film production, which is very exciting. We have many projects that we want to do that with. Yeah, okay, films and a place to show them. So we set up Film Freeway, and then we set up Folken is the place where we had our festival. after reviewing various different places and thinking which was best. And Falcon had the best vibe for us. And there was only 4 of us in the team. There was never more than that. And there were people I already just got on with interpersonally. I couldn't tell you what our roles were. In the company, Tom is the CEO, rightfully so. He's doing a great job as a CEO. He has a great business knowledge and interest in it that I don't have and wouldn't have pushed for myself. And that has afforded us lots of interesting opportunities as a result of taking the business side of it seriously. I'm the chairman of the company. But on the festival, I was like the tech guy. I set up the films, I rendered the files, I played them all in order. I presented a little bit, some of the other of us presented a little bit. But when you're in a small team of people, you can move very fast and efficiently if several of you take on different roles. And you don't think too seriously about what the title of it is. That assumes that your main goal is a great festival. If you have a small team, like my play is 5 people on a stage. 5 people on a stage in an apartment that looks like a regular apartment. I wrote it that way because I was thinking of the film I want to make of it ultimately, which I hope I can still do if this all works out with the play. And it just takes place in a regular apartment, and there's one ghost. He needs a bit of makeup and a few costume changes, but that's it, really. You know, if I was filming it in someone's apartment, they're preparing for dinner, so there's like snack bowls and glasses and stuff, but that would all be there already. All the props would be on set, on location, if I was to film it. Of course, in a play, you have to bring them onto the stage. They're not there. So there's a bit more fuss, I've noticed, in a play. There's lots of scope there to be creative. You could you could give all the characters different glasses that pertain to their personalities and so on. But I want to focus on the actors and their performances, because in my opinion, if I pick up this and say it's a cocktail glass with convincing enough acting, then the people will believe it. You know, I think that my favorite work relies upon performances to take people to another world. There's a great play by Duncan Macmillan called Lungs, and it's 2 actors who play a couple meeting at various different parts in their life. If I remember correctly, it's purely dialogue as it's written, and I don't think there's anything else on the stage. And there's not even any indication when the scenes change. It's all done by how the actors relate to one another. Or at least I think there's scope to produce it in various different ways. Another favourite play of mine is Blasted by Sarah Kane. I love everything by Sarah Kane. I think she's a genius. 4.48 Psychosis is another one of hers, which is just like a very long monologue maybe, but even the way it's written, it's not even clear what's dialogue or not. It's all entirely up to whoever's making it, I think. Waiting for Godot, you can't go wrong with that one. There's some props and everything, but minimalism is part of the style. And I think that fits a general mood of my work, which is this kind of existential flailing, which I'm doing right now on camera. That's my vibe, that's my thing. Yeah, so minimalism is the point, and that's okay. We figured that out. We figured that out with my producer and the team and everything. We figured out that that's what I want to do. They were very, and it's just a shame. It's a real shame. I mean, I'm glad they picked this play, that Bats picked this play. But what they just finished was a panto, like a big production with excellent makeup. There was trolls. I saw pictures of it. There's painted backdrops. There's all kinds of set changes. My play takes place in one apartment, and it's in one apartment on page 1, and it is the same apartment on page 90 when the play wraps up. There's deliberately not that much to do because I wanted it to be not a lot of work, but unfortunately there's this big community around Bats which I love. It's how I know them, because I used to film their pantomimes, and they would all chat to me, and they were having a brilliant time, because in the pantomimes there's like 20 plus people on stage, and they're all chit-chatting, and they're all pals. And they've all been through this experience together, and the energy is so high. And then I've come in with my play with 5 people. I just want as few people as possible in the room when I'm making it. And I have to have confidence that I know the value of that, and that creates a very different type of very meaningful experience. And it's what I do, and it's what I'm bringing to this. Even though I've never directed a play before, that is who I am. That's the vibe I give off, and I find a lot of value in the vibe I give off. Finally, I've gone through many years of not of being back and forth about whether or not the type of person I am is of value in a social setting. I'll say that for sure, and I still have my doubts. Thinking from first principles. This is how I did the festival, like I say. What do you need? You need films, do you need a place to show them? If you then later think, okay, I need a poster, or, you know, this application, this funding application needs a CV, then I'll make it. I'll make each thing on a need basis. And if it turns out that the 4 people I've picked feel like they don't have the skill set for this, first of all, give it a go. You probably do. But if they get overwhelmed, then we'll recruit an extra person and see how, and give them the tasks that the rest of us can't do. When you meet a new story, meet it on its terms. What does this new story need from you? Try and clear away the systems and the structures you've built around previous stories, and give this new story everything that it needs. And kindness is my fundamental principle. In my bones, if I feel somebody being unkind, we're done. When nerves get the better of people in creative situations, I hear nervous laughter and I'm belittled. You know, like I'll say, maybe to do with the festival or something, and just say, do you know what, we don't need a creative director yet because I don't think what we're doing is that big. And you think you can get away without a creative director? Okay, good luck on your festival. You know, this kind of vibe is what I'm talking about. That was a hypothetical example. When somebody does that, they did it because they were sad you couldn't see in them the value they were trying to bring. And they were nervous that they didn't have value to bring. And that they were scared they didn't know how to convey to you the skills that they had, or the enthusiasm that they had for your project. Maybe they weren't even able to admit to themselves how enthusiastic they were about what they were doing, but what they've done is been rude and condescending. And I should be more forgiving of that, I suppose. But I don't stand for it. What's the excuse? I'm also scared and nervous and everything. So you know what I do? I go in and I've got like a really hot face and I say, guys, I'm really terrified. Okay, action. That has its own caveats, like I say. I think I need to find a way to assert myself, because what I did, which really worked, luckily, I sent the film Cherophobe to my producer, and she said she really liked it. And what I loved about Cherophobe, which remains my favorite film I've ever made, and they're my films, I can have favorites, whatever. But the reason it's my favorite is because I had a great time from showing up on set until saying that's a wrap, to editing it, to talking to the people behind the scenes, to taking the breaks. It was beginning to end a fantastic time, because I loved everyone I worked with, and I believed in the project. And we did our best, and we worked very efficiently. Some things were just only one take, because I looked at it and went, that's great, yeah, let's move on. Because that's respecting other people's time as well. Do you know, I think my goal was not the best quality film. It's not to say the best quality film didn't emerge from the process, but it wasn't where my focus was. My focus was on the best time. My focus was on the most meaningful use of time. And making sure the people working on it had a great time. Out of that emerged a good film. And this is essential to me. I know other people would say, listen, this is a spreadsheet of what we're doing today, and if you do not adhere to this at this time, I guess you're not serious about this. I don't want to instill fear in anyone. My play is an amateur production of people who are giving me their time for free. I'm not going to scare them. I'm not going to boss them about. I'm not going to. Even if it would result in a better play, I'm not doing it. It's not going to result in a better play. What is creating good vibes. And this is how I direct, is intuitively. This is how I picked the cast. As I looked at them, I went, yeah, you'll probably do it. And I didn't hold on to them and bring them back to do like A/B testing of, does he have the chemistry with this one? I just went, you know what? They showed up here, which means they have enough conviction to give this a go. And I bet they probably could do it. If I was lucky, in a few instances, I saw flashes of the characters in their performances, but I didn't see that in all the characters before I cast them. I just thought, this is a lovely, dedicated person who seems like they'd be good company and is going to put some time into this. You can't go wrong with that, you know? I don't think. Is it a big risk thinking this way? Absolutely it is. I wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't risk involved. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was a challenge. And I feel very passionately about it, and I forgot that I did, because I just had a big crash over winter, And I forgot the value of any of this. But the value of it, for me, is that I grow as a person. It's a meaningful challenge. It gets me out the house, my very comfortable house with my 2 lovely cats, who are excellent company continuously, and whom I love unconditionally forever, and who don't judge me. There's more, there's more to life than being in love with your own cats. Unfortunately, you know, if I sat here home alone, eventually I'd get tired of it. But it's the dream, man. It's the dream being here. Outside it's so cold right now. It's so damn cold. I've got to venture out and do things. I've got to grow as a person every day, or I start to get insanely anxious. I feel very underutilized.